Today on CityCast Denver, it's Friday, and we're talking about the biggest stories of the week, from Mike Lindell hawking MyPillows outside a Denver courthouse to the Rockies sucking bad and it kind of being okay. I'm here with producer Paul Karolyi and one of our favorite guests to get into the news, plus our wins and fails of the week. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where our oldest bar has jumped on the hot new trend of brunch. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
I did not see this.
My brother's bar is now serving brunch on the weekends, including a breakfast burger. I don't know what that means, but...
It's probably an egg on it. Scrambled egg, maybe. No, you can't scramble that egg and put it on. That's just a mess.
Yeah.
Here's my note for Danny Newman, the owner of My Brother's Bar. Forget the brunch. Don't do this. Don't serve burgers. Don't do this. Your brand at My Brother's Bar is the Beat Generation. What would Neil Cassidy be having in the morning?
Black coffee.
Cigarettes.
Black coffee and cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's what My Brother's Bar should be selling.
You should. They should offer the same deal that the Garage Bar offers, where you can get a beer, a shot, and a cigarette for $5 or something.
That's a lunchbox. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
I mean, if I
Garage
did any of
Bar
those things.
down in Golden Triangle. There you go.
It is good.
It's a great deal. I should might be like $7.
I used to live near there. They had the
That's still
popcorn you
cheap.
could get. It was so salty. So
Is that
salty.
the one? Okay, I think I can picture it. There used to be a great coffee shop next to it.
Yeah, Garage Bar. It's like
demolished
off
it.
of I don't know, it's Bannock or Acoma and
Yes.
like 11th or something.
Yes.
Great place. Very divey.
I love it.
Diviest of dive bars.
One
I
of
mean,
the diviest.
My brother's bar has a great patio, and I would like to enjoy that during brunch. I think that would be my selling point, but...
Great
Also-
thing to do on a patio, cigarettes.
Wait, is that officially the oldest like bar?
I believe
Or- I
oldest
thought that-
operating.
What about that Longhorn Steakhouse place?
Buckhorn
Exchange.
Uh-huh.
Wow, I was way off. Buckhorn Exchange.
I think My Brother's Bar has the oldest like bar license, and I think
think that's what
Buckhorn
it
is
is.
like maybe got the first. Their thing is like the first license after Prohibition. Maybe I don't
know the
I regret
exact.
starting to say anything about this.
We can consult
I have no facts.
the Westward piece that mentions this.
Call in on
No.
the old school bar hotline.
Please
What's the oldest bar?
Please
Buckhorn
correct
Exchange.
us.
don't look it up. Also, just say what you think off the top of your head.
That's how
Never look it up.
podcasts work.
Don't Google it.
No.
Don't Google it. It's Friday. We're in the lovely Dude IDK studios in beautiful 5 Points. I'm here with producer Paul Karolyi. You've heard his voice. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Bree. Good morning.
Good morning. And of course, our hot goss politics man, Deep Singh Badhesha.
I'm here. Thank you for welcoming me back. Last time I had a thrift jacket. Got another thrift jacket.
That's a great nice
Yeah.
Friggin-
satin.
You read the back. It was Ohio Electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is another great thrifting find. What are your secrets, Steve? How do you do it?
Every now and then when my wife and I are like driving to the suburbs and going somewhere, and we're like, you know what? Since we drove 30 minutes out here to visit a friend, might as well just check out their local Goodwill. That's what we do.
Really smart.
Yeah.
Do you have a
That's a good one.
favorite shop?
No, I feel like it's kind of hit or miss. You gotta, it's not about depth. It's about width. You gotta check out as many thrift stores as possible.
Oh, I thought you'd like the surface layer. Like are you a digger? I'm
Oh,
a
no,
shopper,
no.
so I'm like a dig. I'll shop for like 12 hours.
I also only look for the jackets.
That's your
Yeah, you gotta look for the jackets or like the flannels, kind of like that's what I look for. You know what? The thing that I haven't found from a thrift shop that I want to find is a tie.
Ooh.
But it's hard because I have to wear ties all the time for
I
work.
think you should look at vintage stores. That might be better than a thrift store.
The thing about vintage stores, this was $5 from like Goodwill.
I know it's the
But when
markup
you-
is crazy.
When you go to vintage
That's
stores,
fair.
it's like $150.
Yeah.
Which is, respectable side hustle. These guys are going to thrift stores, buying stuff for $5, turning around for $150.
That's a whole other show.
That's something AI won't replace.
Hey, before we get started, you said you had a correction.
I
from
do.
last time you were on the show.
I do have a correction. Last time I was on the show, as loyal listeners will know, I talked about Aaron Gordon, the chicken tender story.
Very memorable.
My phone blew up with some corrections, some conspiracy theories about why he charges for the chicken tenders.
Can we do conspiracy theories first before corrections?
Well, one, it's that he would charge for the liquor too, but you can't charge for the liquor because you need a liquor license. But you can charge for food however you want. And then people
he's going
actually
the DIY party route. I got it. Yeah.
people actually did send me. You know what? Last time I said that you can't have cell phones inside, but then some people did send me sneaky clips from the inside. I'm like, how'd you do this? And it is like a very industrial kitchen. I'll have to show you the videos.
I want to see them.
It's like a all glassed in like industrial kitchen in this mega warehouse.
Huh.
So
Just for making chicken tenders?
no, I mean he lives there, so he probably hosts a lot of guests. So when he recovers from his hamstring injury, let's sneak in.
So the correction was?
Oh yes, the correction. Hello, this is blank blank. I'm not gonna read their name off. She says, imagine my surprise when I'm scrolling on TikTok and I hear a story that I told you about Aaron Gordon's party pops up from you on a podcast. Oh wow, I'm reading that so terribly.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
I'm gonna start from the top.
Your friend caught you on
keep
TikTok
going, keep
telling
going.
her.
So she
she's
says,
saying you're telling
imagine
her
my
story.
surprise when I'm scrolling on TikTok and a story I told you about Aaron pops up from you on a podcast. I have a correction though. The chicken tenders were $6
A piece.
and they took my phone, so I couldn't use Apple Pay, and I didn't have my wallet, so I just suffered. So,
That is
correction.
one of
Use
the.
Apple
That's one
Pay.
of the struggles of being
Yeah.
being phoneless. Is if it's your everything.
I will say my cousin's like this. Like he lives in New York City. We were walking around New York City, and every single place we went, he's like, "Oh, I can tap to pay." But we were going to all these like dive bars, they didn't have tap to pay, so I just kept paying. I'm like, this is such an ingenious scheme
To get your
like,
friends
I don't
to
carry
pay
a
for
wallet.
everything.
I don't carry a wallet, so if there's no Apple Pay, I guess it's up to you, responsible person with a credit card.
Well, now we know if we go to the party, you got to bring cash or an actual physical credit card.
Yes,
Okay.
or maybe invite us. We'll buy chicken tenders for everybody.
Oh, we will.
Well, me? I don't know.
I have a new position on this. I don't want an invite, actually. I'm aloof
Oh,
now.
please, Paul.
No, I don't want. I mean, if
I
I
don't
get
wanna
one,
go
maybe
to a
I'll
party.
consider
What
it, but
kind
I don't need it. Is all. I'm just here. If he's there, I'm here. If the invite comes, we'll talk about it.
Oh
maybe.
my God.
We're actually on the blacklisted list. The next time you just see a photo of us three, just
Excuse
not
me?
these guys.
No, I probably would, because my move would be like going out to the dumpster to look for secrets about him or something. You know,
Oh God,
Like,
don't say these.
I want to investigate the warehouse. I don't want to go to the party. That's
Paul-
much more natural for me.
Clearly, Paul. Who's going to a party and digging through the dumpster?
Well,
You
I'm not saying I'm
weirdo.
going to the party.
That's
the
how-
invite's
Okay.
not coming, and I don't need it. I don't even want it.
Well, I'll, for
That's
the
actually how-
record, would love to come, and I adore Aaron Gordon, and I won't go through your garbage. I would just love to come hang out with you, and I won't be a creep, I promise.
Aaron Gordon is the greatest nugget. Let
He
it be known.
is. He's a beautiful man.
Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
Oh, yeah.
He's
That's-
my pick for greatest nugget.
That's my husband's favorite.
You know that guy?
nugget, too.
I don't know.
Oh,
That's another
look,
one.
that's a whole
We'll
other
talk
show.
about it. That's
That
a
is
great
whole other
story.
show.
I guess
you'd
some people would
you'd
say
really
Chauncey
love him.
Billups, but Chauncey Billups was better on the Pistons than he was on the Nuggets.
I went to high school with Chauncey.
Oh my God, he's the prince of Park Hill, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
did you go to Park Hill?
No, but it was during busing.
Oh, okay.
So he came to my neighborhood.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, our first topic is actually election conspiracy, defamation trial. Why Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, is here in Denver this week. He's at a trial in federal court to determine whether he defamed Eric Coomer, who worked for Dominion Voting Systems, or former director of Dominion Voting Systems, I should say. And he accused Coomer of treason. And this was during Lindell's discredited effort to undermine the results of the 2020 election. Have you guys seen any coverage of this so far? Like the way that Mike Lindell is acting outside of the courtroom? It's wild.
And inside the courtroom.
Yeah, and when he's like making his grand entrance, I guess, by being late.
I kind of work close by there, so I'm I'm just gonna take for my coffee walk. I'll just go a little bit further around the courthouse just to see when they pop out. But I had the time it better because I think it's either in the mornings, lunches, or at night. Not night when they're getting out for the evening, right? So I had to time it better. But man, he is an abrasive dude, but he's kind of funny.
I 100% agree.
Super funny.
He is a larger than life character. I so enjoyed my deep dive on the Mike Lindell rabbit hole last night. One of the all-time great Wikipedia pages. Highly recommended. This
Paul,
man's life story.
Can you toss some quick facts?
The greatest
Give us some
hits.
background on Mike Lindell.
As
the
a
MyPillow
young
guy?
man, he was addicted to gambling and drugs, I think crack. He then found God, and Jesus inspired him to start a pillow company that became very successful.
I can't believe I didn't do this when I got sober. Duh.
Start a pillow company or find Jesus.
I'm Catholic. I know where Jesus is. Sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Very successful pillow company that he then gambled again. He probably wouldn't say it this way, but he basically put his whole reputation on the line on these election lies of the fact that he thought that the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump. And he talked about that a lot, and he still talks about that a lot. And now the company has lost, I believe the CNN's report was, it was once a $100 million company. Sales dropped 95% in 2023.
MyPillow?
Yeah, so his involvement in politics basically destroyed his company.
Well,
he lost contracts with all the big box stores that he now is railing against on his podcast and in podcast appearances, which is hilarious to listen to. And he's doubling down. He keeps doubling down. I mean, here he is in court fighting for his reputation, not settling out of court. Not settling. He chose to go to trial over these claims still.
I think he wanted the publicity to do, because what he's doing outside the courtroom, I've watched this, he's like a TikToker. He has his camera set up and he's hawking MyPillows, like, help me pay for my legal fees by buying my pillows.
But no one's doing it. No one's buying them. It's not working. It hasn't worked for years. The guy just continues to double down on this bad bet. And all of the people who Eric Coomer is suing are losing. Like, this is such a loser of a strategy. And
but what's funny is Mike Lindell, in an interview, they were like, he was basically like, I don't know her. Like, who is Eric Coomer? I've never heard of that person before. How am I even in this case? Like, he's just like playing like he has no idea what's going on.
Oh, well, really?
Yeah, you should watch The Guardian. There's a Guardian video that's really interesting.
Yeah, his strategy is clearly there. Like, I didn't know any better, which he might have not. Like, it's hard to tell if he's actually playing a character or if he's just genuinely actually this crazy. But going back to this pillow thing real quick, does that mean that 95% of the people who were buying his pillows were like liberals or like left-leaning folks? Which might make sense, because think about it. Think about your conservative friends. You go over to their house.
No pillows.
No pillows on the couches and stuff. Liberals like a good pillow, I think, right? I think this might be a thing.
Ridiculous take. Ridiculous
I know.
take.
I was like, I don't know.
Not my experience at all.
Well, explain the sales.
Explain the sales?
Wouldn't the conservatives still be buying the pillows?
Because it's a consumer products company that relies on distribution methods. And a company like Target or Bed Bath & Beyond doesn't want to have the MyPillow guy's face in their store when it means election denial to everyone who's ever seen him on TV.
You don't think the direct-to-consumer pillow market is that big?
I don't think so. Although, God, they're trying. Good Lord, these podcasts. I was listening to this guy, Eric Metaxas, last night. He asked Lindell a question. Lindell monologues for 5 straight minutes about how he's at the middle of this biblical battle of good and evil. And then Metaxas' follow-up is, and by the way, you can buy my book with the code Mike Lindell, get a promo on the MyPillow. I'm just like, this is so fucking sick. The way our media is so broken that this guy has been able to just like be taken advantage of, and these people are just using him to push their own narratives that are so obviously wrong. I don't recommend these podcasts. I don't recommend listening to this guy.
Well, this is a civil case too. That's interesting. I mean, one of the things is, Mike Lindell is actually pretty close to the Trump camp of the Trump world, right? Of course,
that's what he says.
Of course, because Trump has loyalty to people who were saying that the 2020 election was stolen,
right,
which it clearly wasn't, right?
Right.
So I think you can't do anything because it's a civil case, and that's why the attorneys here are smart, because they're going after civil damages, right? If it was a criminal prosecution at the federal level, Trump could just give a pardon, right? And Lindell could be safe. But because this is a civil case, right, this might bankrupt him.
So Mike Lindell?
Yeah, Mike Lindell.
Yeah.
I feel like
he could.
Also, he's kind of, it's not like he's already there, but if he lost 95% of his customer base through these large companies, I assume he's kind of like, well, what else do I have to lose?
He's a true believer. I think that's the other thing about him, is he truly believes that the election was stolen fully. He spent 40
He's not just using it as a racket.
No, I think he really believes it. And he spent $40 million in quote unquote investigating it. And
what does that even mean?
They pointed this out on 9 News. They were like, someone made this claim. He spent $40 million, and then he was in the courtroom just being like, yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did.
It is interesting. So like the standard for defamation, there's like 4 things, right? You have to communicate to someone. It has to be demonstrably false. If it's a public figure, they have to have malice to it. I'm trying to forget the
actual malice.
Actual malice is only if the public figure. So Coomer is not a public figure, so he doesn't have and harm to reputation. So it's pretty easy. The defense was arguing, one, that Lindell didn't harm Coomer's reputation because other conspiracy theories were already harming his reputation. I think that they're not going to win on that. But the weird thing that they're trying to win on is the false statement of fact. And the novel legal theory that they're trying to say is like, well, to him, it wasn't false, right? To him, he believes this genuinely, right? Like, defamation is like knowingly lying about somebody, saying like, oh, this person had an affair, this person cheated, this person scammed. But if you genuinely actually believe that, you saw some weird evidence and stuff, that could be a defense to this. So
could also be a really good actor.
He could be a really good actor.
There's like a reasonableness. Like, should he have reasonably been able to know the facts or understand? This is why for the news organizations like Newsmax and Fox News that already had to pay out big settlements to Coomer
million, I think,
and Dominion,
to Dominion.
Like, they either settled or they just lost. Like for Lindell, I don't know. I mean, maybe that is interesting. I think he's going to lose.
So I am a lawyer, not a good one, but I am a lawyer. It's fun. This is not legal advice. I'm just saying the standard they use is like an objective person, right? What would a reasonable person in those shoes say? Yeah. And I guess the one that they had the pitch that Lindell is a reasonable person, and then the facts that he got. How do you prove
someone's a reasonable person?
You know, what'd be interesting is Lindell should go back and then end up suing like the algorithms that just put this on his feed. Like, what happens if he just sues like TikTok this is before TikTok, right? So sues like Facebook and said, hey, I wouldn't believe this if my algorithm wasn't all conspiracy
or
theories.
if I had any media literacy whatsoever.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, the media angle is pretty interesting around this.
But this is the second time this has happened. The first time Tina Peters.
Right.
Tina Peters flew on the MyPillow private jet. So you knew that, Ron. Did you see that one? Yeah.
The other local angle, I think this is actually also worth knowing, is that where this whole the focus on Eric Coomer, the former Dominion
director
head who said he's gotten death threats for years and hasn't opened his blinds because of being targeted like this. It started with a local podcaster named Joe Oltmann, who said shortly after the 2020 election on his show that he had infiltrated an Antifa conference call. This is where this whole thing started. It's like weirdly specific.
Conference call?
He said an Antifa conference call. And on this conference call, he heard someone named Eric.
Oh, this quote is weird. Yes.
That, and when you listen to the clip, they have this on 9 News too, but you listen to the clip, it's like actually kind of garbled and nonsense. But he was like, this guy named Eric was like, I could rig the election. I could make Trump lose.
And then he was like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Like it was like, but there is no actual proof of this conference call existing, right? He's just saying this is where he heard.
Yeah. So Coomer is suing Oltmann as well. This is not the only one of these, and like he's already sued Dominion, or he's already sued Newsmax and Fox News, and Lindell's this current guy in line.
The latest.
Great mustache. Got to give him that. Great mustache.
He likes blue. I've noticed his suits are always blue.
It'll be interesting what the jury says and if the jury afterwards does any public appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the 9 News clip with Marshall Zellinger talking about what the jurors who were picked said?
No.
Oh, watch
what did they
it.
say?
It's just like, it just makes you question who was picked to be a juror. Like, because they basically had to be like, do you know anything about this? You know what I mean? It's one of those, how much do you know? Where do you get your information? And he said it was like sort of startling how many folks were like, I don't really get news from anywhere. I know nothing. So, but jury selection's a whole other conversation.
Apparently Lindell himself is taking the stand next week to talk about this.
We'll get some good quotes.
Continues to want to talk about himself for some reason.
Is this the next CityCast Neighbors event?
I wish.
The Mike Lindell trial?
We'll pre-game his testimony and then post-game it, debrief it.
That's actually like kind of genius.
Not a bad idea.
Let's do it.
It would be fun. He's so
you get a mug.
The other thing about Lindell is like, I don't know if you guys had this impression, but when I was watching his clips this week, I was like, this is kind of like, he's kind of a relic of the last Trump era to me. Like, I feel like Trump, like looking at Lindell, I was like, Trump himself has changed and he's surrounded himself with so many new people. Like, even he doesn't really talk like this anymore. Lindell has so clearly modeled himself after Trump, but the Trump of 8 years ago, of 4 to 8 years ago, when he was like more, I don't know, like even more reckless or like even less. There's just something about it. I don't know. I guess I haven't put my finger on it yet, but it felt like this is anachronistic now. This is not of today. This is not the current MAGA movement. I think he is out of fashion. And maybe it's because he has gone so deep on the lies.
Yeah, this is like your Nana's Facebook conspiracy theorist.
I feel like this sounds like this is how the frog slowly boils. Because what Trump is doing is still not normal, right? Like grifting billions of dollars of like crypto conspiracies, making sure his family is getting rich. I mean, when President Zelensky is coming to the White House and he's openly yelling at the dude, he's shouting at.
He should have been grateful.
Yeah, but
he should have said thank you and been very grateful.
So like all these things are happening. So the Trump world is still very crazy, but it is interesting that there's been like this gap in between. But Trump is suing these news organizations as well. So, news is being sued every single which way about this. So.
It's a tough time to be a journalist, to be trying to tell the truth about people, try to find the truth. It's hard.
I was just thinking about this last night. I was like, how many journalists from this era are just like, I don't know, going to disassociate, move into another field? I'm concerned. I'm concerned for our colleagues because the stress that we feel is nothing, I think, compared to folks that are maybe covering national politics or have to cover the Trump stuff so closely.
Well,
I worry about people. Before we move on, what do we think this says about democracy? I think we're talking, at the end of the day, this is about a quote rigged election and voting systems and all of these things that we trust.
So it's a couple of interesting things that I'm seeing happens with this. One, you're actually seeing some conspiracy theorists on the left. Now, not in terms of the progressive left, but in just general, like, liberals are saying, like, maybe the 2024 election was stolen. If you have seen this, people are like, Elon Musk might have hacked the voting machines. So the same kind of misinformation and, like, how could we have lost? We couldn't have lost because of our policies. We must have lost because things were hacked. Things were rigged. And it's like people are losing faith in the election system, right? People are losing faith in democracy. And we find ourselves in these echo chambers, right? They're like, I don't know a single person who voted for Trump. How is it possible that we lost, right?
Yeah.
So you see this happen on the liberal side too. And city council is trying to address some of this stuff about good governance and good democracy. If you saw this, that city council is debating, like, should they move elections maybe? And they're also talking about should they implement ranked choice voting? New York City famously has done this. Boulder's done it. Fort Collins has done it. And what can we do with elections to restore people's faith in it? Because I right now it's funny it's you could point at Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy. He's brash. He's kind of crazy. He has a insane story, but there are genuinely like innocent people who fell down rabbit holes who got involved with this. Right? It reminds me of this grandma who was literally a conspiracy theorist on Facebook. Went to the Capitol, broke into the Capitol. Afterwards, gets arrested. And then the attorney's like literally like, no, this is all wrong. And now she's like on a crusade across the world, be like, no, I was wrong. I was in the echo chamber.
Oh,
what
really?
I did was wrong. So
I love that.
Yeah, and it's just this sweet old grandma. And I'm like, oh, I kind of feel bad for this situation.
Like once you talk to real people, and like just, I guess some people are really dug in. Like Mike Lindell is such a true believer and like in his own world, he's really dug in. But I just think like the vast majority of people are trying their best and are ready to talk about this stuff. And I don't know. I'm not that worried about democracy personally. I think that Mike Lindell, the system's working, He's in court, literally, for a crime that he is alleged to have committed.
Not crime. Civic action.
A civic action.
Civil.
A civil action for defamation. And this jury's going to decide if he did it or not. And then he'll be punished or not. I think that's the system working. You saw these huge settlements with Fox News and Newsmax. Like, you do something wrong, you get punished for it. The courts are working right now.
I think they're sort of working right now. I feel like if you actually talk to a lot of Americans, I think people are like ringing the bell that, the one thing that we have that's keeping us away from authoritarianism is the courts. And I will say, like, Trump appointed judges have been pushing back. Conservative judges have been pushing back. So this is the real test. We'll see in a year from now what's happening in the world, right? Is it going to be enough pressure that even Trump's allies can't even be punished civilly, right? Is it that the pardon power goes so far that all these people are innocent? Trump's been talking about freeing Tina Peters from prison. So
yeah,
I have faith. I have a little faith right now.
Power. He has a lot of power. We keep talking about it. You keep talking about it. 2026 is going to be the decider.
It is.
How is he going to handle whether or not Democrats retake some power in Congress? And then what are Democrats going to be actually able to do if they do control one of those chambers?
Yeah.
Well, we'll wait and see. We'll be watching the Mike Lindell case as well, obviously. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, more news. Okay, we're back.
Oh.
You can be on your phone.
What's
It's
that?
fine.
Oh, just checking stuff. This next story is about.
The Rockies.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, am I ruining everything?
No, it's fine. I mean, this has been a conversation ongoing about how much the Rockies suck and how much does it matter or not. And Adam Cayton-Holland had a great piece on his Substack this week about how he felt about the team and like just what I found interesting was he was like, okay, so we sucked this bad in 2024 and then we sucked this bad in 2023. He's like, all these sports writers are saying we're not going to suck this bad this year, but he's disagreeing. What do you guys think? I mean, Deep, I wanted to ask you, you're a hometown Denver boy. How do you feel? Do you feel an allegiance to the Rockies regardless of how they're doing?
So I'm a hometown Colorado boy. So I grew up outside of Denver.
Springs
I
guy.
know, Colorado Springs, but I'll take it. But
Are you going to the Mad for the Rocky Mountain vibes?
I know. I was like, I guess it's like it's the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah,
to be
it's
fair,
Colorado Rockies. But the thing is, like, when you grow up outside of Denver, Denver is still everything, right? It's like that's where the hockey team is. That's where the basketball team is. That's where the baseball team is. So is that? No, I grew up cheering for the Rockies for sure. I remember when I was young and they were going to the World Series and everyone was so stoked and we started wearing purple and it was an exciting time, right? It is incredibly disappointed. And I will say, when you live outside of Denver, I think you actually cheer for the Rockies via their wins and fails. Or like if they're winning, if they're losing, what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. That's your representation. But when you live in Denver, I actually like, oh, Coors Field is just the best bar in town, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's actually the folks outside of Denver who
that are keeping
they're hurting the most about this.
That are actually feeling for the team and have not just resigned ourselves to realizing that we just really enjoy going to a ballpark.
Yeah, for me, the Rockies are now just it's a bar where you get cheap beers and you sing songs. That's what people really want. You know, people want to go to a bar and have designated times to
people
sing
in Denver
along
love to party
with everybody else. And that's the real pitch of Coors Field. It's like, you come here, we won't win, you won't have a good time watching the game, but you and your friends will be paying for expensive hot dogs, and you will get to sing together.
And attendance proves that, right? I mean, the Denver Gazette was talking about the lowly Rockies are currently drawing bigger average crowd sizes than the Mariners, Tigers, Reds, Orioles, Guardians, Twins, Pirates, White Sox, Marlins, Athletics, and the Rays. So ticket sales wise, they're doing fine regardless of how much they suck. Does that matter to you, Paul?
I don't know. No, not really. I don't know. I guess I feel like the dialogue around the Rockies is like really broken and weird right now. Like people are calling about boycotts and other people are like, no, it's good.
Sell the team.
I'm like, why do I like sports? Why do I go to see games? Why do I watch games? I like to see greatness. And what the Rockies are doing this year is one of the all-time performances of sucking.
Just epic failure on a big level.
They're so bad, they're great.
This is an opportunity to be historic. Not for winning, for losing. Maybe that's sad for some people. For me, that's exciting. And I think we're missing where the good parts of this are. Like Dick Monfort. Dick Monfort, the
owner.
character, greatness
Team
in
owner.
terms of hubris. This man
For sure.
responds to fans' emails and defends his actions. Have you seen any of these quotes?
No, that's amazing.
This man,
does?
you can email him anytime you want. It's available. You can just send him an email and you'll get a one-word answer back sent from my iPad. If product and experience that bad, don't come. Literally, that's his grammar. He wrote that to a fan. If product and experience that bad, don't come! ! Sent from my iPad. Dick Monfort, my
the
man.
icing on the cake is sent from my iPad, of
I
course.
love this
That's
guy.
the best punchline.
And he's like apparently really involved in he was, I guess, actually made the decision to finally fire this failure of a general manager they had that was leading them to all these losing seasons. Anyway,
And they still
Dick
suck.
Monfort, the only MLB owner who wanted to cancel the 2020 season over the pandemic. That's another ignominious distinction for the owner of the Colorado Rockies. Perhaps it's because he knows that the only value the Rockies provide is the in-stadium experience,
the infield,
and the
yeah.
TV experience is so bad. Another great quote. This is for people who have been calling on him to lose, to sell the team. No, I have not thought about firing Jeff. He's talking about an old manager. I have thought about firing myself. So that's how he's thinking about like selling the team, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that mean he's selling the team or he's just resigning to not responding to emails anymore?
Maybe. I don't know.
Have you all do you know about Banana Ball? Do you all know about the Savannah Bananas?
This is the Savannah Bananas. I've been just hearing about
the
this
sexy
recently.
Baseball team.
They're like an entertainment team.
Yes.
Right. So they play a different version of baseball called banana ball. Right. It's like
but they're like hunky guys, right? Isn't that part of the thing?
They're attractive. I think
that's part of the draw.
And they've created a whole league now. So for those of you who don't know, the Savannah Bananas are a team from Georgia. They're like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, right? They do antics. There's someone who's like the world's tallest baseball player who plays on stilts the whole game. So they're on these like 8-foot stilts.
Great.
There's like these antics that happen that like in order to catch the ball, you have to first do a backflip, then you can catch it. If you're on the pitcher, you have to like do the splits and then throw it. So it is this experience where it's baseball, and it's not like the Harlem Globetrotters where the Harlem Globetrotters would always win against the Washington Generals.
Yeah.
This is a competitive baseball game. So they have their opponents are known as the party animals, and now they've created a league. So there's 4 teams in this league. Some based out of Texas, some others. There's like the firefighters and then the Texas something else. So they're creating a whole league where it's like they're paying this like fun games where they're like people are on stilts, people are still singing, people are like dancing, and they're like it's a competitive nature where you're like, oh yeah, I cheer for the party animals over the bananas. People are like I cheer for the bananas over this, and
but they're elevating the experience.
Yeah, they're elevating the experience. I'm like, listen, Montfort, you could be legendary. Think about it. We say the Rockies no longer are going to just play baseball. We're going to play banana ball. Oh. That stadium would be sold out every time. And the Savannah Bananas sell out. Like, this could be big.
I would probably go. I'd go see him win.
I think it would be, like, here's the thing. Clearly, he doesn't care about baseball, right? Like, Montfort cares about making money.
I have no idea what he cares about.
If you can make the pitch that, like, you would still, like, one, you don't have to play in the MLB season. You can do the games at your own convenience. Right? It could be big. You could be a traveling team.
Have a game every night.
I could see as well as the Rockies, not in place of the Rockies, because I'm just thinking about the hubbub over getting the team in the first place in the 90s and how important it was to us. Like, we finally got, we got our own MLB team. I just feel like people would react negatively to that. No matter how much the Rockies suck, they're still ours, right?
This is what we need to bet. So the Savannah Bananas are coming to Coors Field. I bet the Savannah Bananas actually probably sell out and have like more fans and like more electric environment when the Savannah Bananas are in Denver than the Rockies are. And I think Montfort will be in the crowd, and I think Montfort something will click. And he's like,
I need
banana
to see
ball
the crowds
is the future.
for these because honestly, I've only heard about this team from women. And women older than me.
Don't we want
which is like not necessarily the crowd I'm thinking about for the average age or gender for a Rockies game. I just see different audiences here is what I'm saying. But
the other problem with this is because I had this thought earlier in the season. I was like, why don't the Rockies just like play minor league instead of the pros, And would Montfort, you can still sell your beer,
it's a pride thing for Denver.
I don't know. I'm not lately. But the problem with the Savannah Bananas is a lot of people go to Coors Field to watch the opposing team. So I couldn't see Shohei Ohtani or Juan Soto if I'm from New York or if I'm from LA, if the Bananas are playing.
And that is a big part of
draw.
attendance.
People like the good baseball players.
You could technically run them at the same time.
That's what I'm thinking would be the better bet. And again, because I'm not downing the audience. I'm not putting down the Savannah Bananas audience. I'm just saying I see two very different audiences. And I agree with you, Paul, because last time I went to a Rockies game last year, it was like we were the only Rockies fans amongst like all Red Sox fans.
We should do a banana ball expansion team then.
Yes.
Keep the Rockies as they are.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would call them. Probably Mile High Hunks.
Yeah, something.
Coin it.
I mean, it feels euphemistic, the Bananas. And I'm assuming this is like a thing.
It's a euphemism?
The Savannah
Bananas?
I mean, I'm relating it to what I know, which is I know ladies like this team.
I hadn't heard about that around.
This is all, and maybe this is my silo. Everyone is I'm in the silo of women that love the Savannah Bananas. Apparently,
no,
Bree's entire TikTok is just great. Savannah Bananas and the firefighters.
Like my mom sends me and my aunt sends me their stuff. Like they think they're so funny and cute.
Are you going?
I think Savannah Bananas.
Yeah,
are you going in August?
I think we might be if I'm here. So because we're going on vacation, but I'm pretty sure like that's why. Maybe that's skewing my knowledge of it, but regardless, I love the idea of this as an expansion team.
Can I do a shout out to a listener?
Yes, please.
Because
We
got
love
an
shout outs to
email.
listeners.
I can correspond with this is a passionate listener. I really appreciate this email. Denise M. I always appreciate hearing from you. Love your takes. But your subject line made me laugh. She emailed me yesterday and she said, Rockies have won 12 games, ! Which was like, okay. She's a big Rockies fan.
A dozen games.
Out of 62?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Adam Cayton-Holland was calling for a boycott. Denise M was like, no, we got to support the team even when they're down. And I think that was nice too, because Colorado sports fans are kind of spoiled a little bit. Like, we won a Stanley Cup two years ago, won an NBA championship 2 years ago, the Super Bowl 10 years ago. Like, there's a lot of places that don't win these championships
Yeah,
that
that's
often.
true.
Like, the Rockies were in the friggin' World Series 15 years ago. It's not
But I feel
that
like
bad,
that's the
folks.
ongoing theme of all the memes is like, look at all our other teams, and then there's the Rockies, and they're absolutely
They'll be
horrible.
back. These things are cyclical.
I do understand like how I've always found Boston fans insufferable. Right? These Boston fans like feel like they deserve it, that they need to go to the playoffs and they win all the time. They're like,
That's how I feel about
like
the Lakers.
I'm a Boston fan. You know who I cheer for. I'm from Boston, and then it's just like this smugness to it. And ever having the Avalanche in the playoffs and having an MVP, and then the Nuggets in the playoffs and having an MVP, and the Broncos doing pretty well, and we've won Super Bowls like sort of recently, but like we're doing well, right? And just from that little bit of success, I'm like, yeah, Denver's the fucking best. So I could,
You're walking around with your head held. You're thinking like, you're waking
like,
up and you're like, the Nuggets won a championship. Fuck yeah.
So if the Rockies were good,
That's-
I don't think Denver fans would be behaving themselves. We would become the new Boston. I think we'd be walking around and be like, yeah, my baseball team's good. My football team's good. My Nuggets
interesting.
team's good.
We don't have that kind of East Coast energy they
It's
have over
because the Rockies keep us humble. If the Rockies
and
win,
I just feel like
we
we're
will
like
be-
maybe too drunk, but we're not, and more maybe high to be that aggro as Boston is. I don't know.
I think it's
We like to party.
defeat. Defeat is what softened us. If we
Low
win too much,
expectations?
it's not good.
Okay, before we go back to Adam Cayton-Holland's piece, do you guys think that selling the team would matter or change things?
To what?
I don't know. I mean, this is what the
what?
argument is: boycotting or telling the Monforts to sell the team. Would it matter? Would it?
Well, I feel
So-
like people are calling for boycotts to compel Monfort to sell.
Okay.
If people stop showing up at the stadium, then he'll be making less money from the in-game experience, and he won't be making, like, he'll have to change his strategy. So like because we can't choose for him, he has to make his choice. We have to choose how we respond. Do we buy tickets or not?
There is a interesting cultural moment that's happening in sports across the world, like not world, in America, that sports are owned by these billionaires, right? Billionaires own our sports teams, and then they pay their employees who are millionaires, but they're still being exploited to a certain extent, right?
Sure.
And then they're jacking up the prices of the games, they're jacking up the ticket prices, the price of hot dogs, all that. When you go to Europe, right, a lot of European teams are sort of owned semi-publicly, or at least dispersed into like multiple different shareholders, right? And I think it'd be interesting in America if we started having this new movement where it's like, billionaires, sell your team, whatever, and maybe the local area buys the Rockies. If we put it on the ballot, do you think the Denver voters would buy the Rockies?
Great question.
It depends on the
Great
climate.
question.
And then it's a publicly owned team. And then if you're a
How
citizen
much
of
do these
Denver,
MLB teams go for when they get sold?
maybe it's a
Aren't
statewide
the Green
vote.
Bay Packers owned this way?
Yeah.
Sort of. It's
Sorta.
I just wonder
I
if
don't
that's a
know, dude.
model.
It's
I
more of
don't
a
know.
model from like Germany, right? But
Okay.
like in Germany, in the local markets, or in like Britain and France, when you go to those local soccer teams, they really are owned by the town to a certain extent, right? They'll own the stadium, they'll like be behind the general manager, and it's sort of the reason why college sports are so popular, right? College sports really do belong to like a university or a public or like an alumni association, right? And people are so much more passionate about college sports than there are professional sports.
It's
to a
different.
degree.
It's different. It's
But
different.
like,
But I know what you mean.
have the history, and you're like, oh, I went to school here too.
Yeah, I
These
was
were my
going to say
classmates.
you might have a
and-
direct connection
Yeah.
to it in a way that's more
and when you talk
tangible.
to European sports fans or Asian sports fans, they're like, listen, your professional sports don't actually feel as high energy as European sports do, but your college sports do. And that's the difference. So maybe we're onto something where these billionaires are dying. We hate them. This is happening, and maybe we'll seize the first means of production that we seize are the sports.
I like this take.
Why don't we start with the
This is
women's
interesting.
soccer league then?
Well, we're not going to own that. We're just going to own the land.
Well, maybe we should ask for a
But we
stake.
should own them,
No,
yeah.
well, if we're going to put up
That's what I'm
$70 million,
saying. It's like,
we could get a.
Can we get an ownership stake in it then?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be controlling, but we want to weigh in. We want to say, weigh in on free agent signings, or maybe we want to weigh in on, what kind of general manager they hire and whether or not they have questionable history or not.
That would get people out to the polls.
Yeah, what? Imagine running for city council. I'm going to make housing more affordable. Transit is going to be more affordable. Also, I'm firing the coach. Like, they're doing a terrible job.
100%. I see.
You
that
want people
I
involved
see
in
that being
democracy?
so
This is what you need to
that's
do.
Genius. It's so just like it's.
We all saw the game last night. We all know what needs to be done. We're firing.
Well, we think about how involved people are in sports
Yeah.
versus how involved folks are in politics. Like, all right, well, we're going to take one more break, and when we come back, our wins and fails of the week. All right, we're back. It's time for our wins and fails of the week. Things that ruled, things that sucked. As always, we'll start on our fails so we can end on a good note. Paul, what's your fail this week?
I'm so excited. To talk
You
about
clearly
this.
are. You're smiling just creepily.
Creepily?
I've just never seen you smile so intensely.
I was excited when I saw
Okay.
this quote.
All right.
This made my day because I always love when someone puts out an idea in the world that I just think is so audacious and brash. And my fail this week goes to former Mayor Wellington Webb,
Oh, boy.
who listeners will know recently from his work leading the Save Open Spaces group that pushed back on the development of the Park Hill Golf Course. This is a fight that was going for about 20 years, and he claimed victory this year. It is going to remain a park. It's going to be turned over to the city. They're buying it, and it's going to be a park.
And it's going to open this summer.
Park Hill Golf Course? I don't think I've heard about this
Stop.
before.
Stop it. I will direct you to 17,000 episodes we made about it.
It's a joke, obviously. I have passions about this.
Yeah.
Paul, what's the quote from Webb?
So the Parks and Recreation is soliciting ideas. What should we do in this park? What do we do? It's huge, 155 acres. And the former mayor had an idea reported by Westward. Quote, the former mayor envisions a multi-sport complex with a track and field area, a hockey rink, soccer fields, courts for basketball, volleyball, and lacrosse, as well as pickleball courts, and a 9-hole golf course. The mayor's idea for the old Park Hill Golf Course that we fought for 20 years to make open space or housing, what every Denverite wants, is to literally rebuild the golf course.
Do you feel like it's a little rub it in faces? Like,
I don't know where he gets these ideas. I think this is... I want to know how he thinks. I don't understand it. And here's the kicker. He said, quote, we can have it all, he insists, not housing, as the vote stated. We can have it all, he insists, noting that a 9-hole golf course is likely to increase nearby residential property values.
what?
Was that not the whole point of the
God.
debate to not do
To
that?
not raise property values because they were, what do they call it? Green gentrification or something? Where you put a park in and it makes it attractive to people?
Flabbergasted by these comments.
Not to say I told you so, but to say I told you so. I was part of this movement that was like, this land is vacant. We're in a housing crisis. We need them. We can add stores here. We can add spots for transit. We can add affordable housing. And now instead, we're going to get a glamorous park and maybe a golf course. So good work, everybody who voted no.
That's my fail. Former Mayor Webb,
Shaming.
please come on the show. We got to talk about this.
I'm sure he'd
The
love
golf
to.
course, my God.
All right. Deep, what's your fail?
Yeah, not to bring it down. But as folks probably saw, that in Boulder, there was an attack, a firebombing attack that some folks are talking with Molotov cocktails that targeted a movement or a protest that was happening involving the Israeli hostages. Very sad. I mean, it's very unfortunate in Colorado. These happen far too often, whether it's through guns or other means of violence, right? In Colorado, we've seen Columbine before. We've seen the grocery store shootings,
Movie
the movie theater shootings everywhere across the way. So very sad to see what's happening in Boulder. And it's just worrisome that, America's always been a pretty violent place. We've always had random acts of violence. And Ezra Klein's talked about this, and other authors have talked about this for a long time, that, America, we've gotten used to a certain amount of violence in our lives.
We were built on violence.
Yeah, we were built on violence. I mean, like, we've gotten used to as Americans that. But oftentimes this violence hasn't had a political valence to it, or it hasn't had a message to it. But what you've seen lately on all sides of the issue is that, when someone's now shooting up a grocery store, they're targeting like a Latino or a Black grocery store, right? When someone's attacking an individual to kill, like what happened with the shooting in New York City with the healthcare CEO, they're adding this new valence to it, right? And that is adding so much different worry in the space I come from, right? In the political world, where it's like people have talked about violence often, this random violence that happens throughout the streets, but now people are doing it with these messages attached. They're the same type of crazy people who do these shootings or firebombings or attacks, but it is worrisome. So it's a fail.
Yeah.
Praying for peace everywhere.
Yeah, I have to agree. We've talked about this, but I think you're so onto something that politically motivated violence seems to be a rising trend. Like I noticed there's a lot to talk about with Boulder. I don't know if we will get to that, but I didn't see a lot of people talking about mental health. I saw a lot of people talking about politics and anti-Semitism as a motivator, and that's a change for me. I mean, no judgment for me, but that's a change. Like normally the conversation around these attacks is what has led this person to do this? Like, is there some sort of mental health issue? And I didn't see any of that. And like, clearly this man was not well.
Yeah, you can see from the videos. And it's when we're entering this new era, this new darker era, it is very worrisome. Just to see like these random acts are from mentally ill people. Because if you're going to be attacking people like this, you are not mentally well off. You are not a well-adjusted adult. You are not doing things like, these are people who are sick, right? By definition. And it's worrisome about the motives are changing. We should be questioning what's happening with our algorithms. We should just be questioning it.
I think there is a different kind of politically motivated violence where it is just a person who feels very strongly about their political views, who is going to do violence to try to make a point. It may be the case that there's no mental health anything involved for sure. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's part of it as well. But the other piece of this, that like when these attacks are so politically motivated, that I've observed in my life personally, like with not so much anyone making public statements, mostly it's people condemning violence, but I feel like because these attacks are taking on this political valence, I've had people in my life who are more open to being okay with it. Like who are wow. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's heard people in private being like, yeah, Luigi Mangione, hell yeah, good. He shot that healthcare CEO, good.
I mean, I think it's more nuanced than that, though. It's like when I hear those conversations amongst folks in my world, it's related to the healthcare issue if we're talking Luigi Mangione.
The violence that Brian Thompson perpetrates through the systemic abuse of the healthcare system.
Yes, I always go back to this, but I learned so much about this issue through the disability community and how they're constantly... I mean, medicalized trauma is a whole other situation. Add financial burden to that, and you can't understand what this does to someone's life. So I would just say, like, I'm not justifying it by any means, but I'm saying when I see the Luigi Mangione conversation, it's rooted in we never had any other way to get attention to this issue. I've been screwed over by an insurance company. I had to pay thousands of dollars for, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that. It didn't motivate me to be violent, but I just think that it's important to add that part to it. And that's not related
absolutely.
To that. This is just particularly to Luigi Mangione.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think it's because people feel shut out of politics. Like people feel like they can't make a change in politics because these are the systems that we have to adjudicate our differences in this country. I mean, we have democracy.
It's a frustration, right? I mean, again, reporters and authors have been talking about this, that if America is a very violent place, we have school shootings that happen, right? We have public shootings that happen at parades, at all these different types of things. When that violence starts becoming political, that's what's going to be leading to a lot of fractured parts of society. And we've seen actions where, like, these mentally ill people attack communities that are in the news or that are happening. And they're sort of almost looking for an excuse, and then they put the message on top of it. For example, I'm part of the Sikh community, right? So after 9/11 happened, right? Sikhs are the ones who wear the turbans, they have the beards, my uncles, a lot of family members have that. Mm-hmm. After 9/11 happened, right? Sikhs were targeted and killed often, right? They were driving taxis and they were killed. They were convenience store workers and they were killed. So those people we're probably going to kill somebody at some point in time, right? And then something happened that said, oh, we should kill these people, right? And that's the thing that we should like all avoid, is that this dehumanization that's happening, and then that's targeting. I mean, and by excusing this violence that's happened for so long, we've kind of opened ourselves into this. So, it's important that people across the board are turning down the heat. When, as you were saying, like when Donald Trump, when the assassination attempt happened in his life, now it's important to turn down the heat.
Yeah.
When these things are happening, it's important to turn down the heat, because we cannot live in a society that is,
Well, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, we all know the stuff. We all know what life is like now. You see something on the internet and you're like, I'm having a strong reaction to it. It's designed to provoke a strong reaction. It's very hard to take a step back, think about your neighbors and your loved ones, maybe people that have different ideas than you, and think it's okay that we're different. It's okay. And that's something that's great about us, is that we are okay with that.
I also think we need each other more than ever. And that's what I hear I get together with a group of other women in media, and we've been trying to brainstorm ways to create mutual aid systems for our communities, because if we hear anything, we're just disconnected. We're not connected enough with each other. We don't literally rely on each other enough. And we should be, because that's what community is relying on each other. And when you can have those conversations and you can talk to people that are your neighbor. I don't know what my neighbor's political views are. We don't talk about politics.
I know too much of my neighbor's political views.
I mean, my neighbors are like, we talk about what's happening on our street and our gardens and our kids, and you know what I mean? And if I needed anything, I know I could go to my neighbors right away. But I think a lot of people don't have that opportunity or option. And I hear this a lot from friends too, who maybe moved here from somewhere else and their family is elsewhere, and they just don't feel like they have a family here. And so this has long been how mutual aid works, is creating networks that are self-sustaining outside of politics, who just needs, what do you need and how can I help you? What do I have to offer that someone else can have? And I think that's a big part of it, is just talking to, it's like, sounds so corny, but just connecting with someone, getting out of your house and getting off your phone and being able to connect directly with a person or a movement that's already happening, where you can put that energy. Because that's the other thing I hear from people all the time. I just want to help and I don't know what to do. I just want to do something. I watch this stuff all day on my phone, on Instagram, on TikTok, and I don't know what to do. How do I affect change here? Or how do I at least just create something beneficial for someone else? Because I can't go across the world and fix the problem that I see. So
I have a win on this.
Okay, I was like, my fail. I was like, I don't even need to do my fail. It's like so tiny and minuscule.
Tell us your fail, and then
I just watched someone throw like an entire meal's worth of McDonald's bags and stuff out the window today, and I was like, who litters?
Where?
Just driving down the street, out the window of their car onto Welton Street. And I was like, I know I'm a child of the 80s where I was indoctrinated that littering is literally the worst thing you could possibly do. I remember being very passionate about it as an elementary school kid, but I just am floored that people still actively throw trash on the, who do you think is picking that up? Be a better person. This is all our city. Dirt bags. Come on. I'm judging. I'm super judgmental. I don't know, your mother didn't raise you right. So that was my fail. Someone threw some trash out their window. It really bothered me.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does.
Shifting to wins.
Sorry I did that.
Oh, please, Paul.
I was actually going to make
if it was your Prius, Paul, I would drive you off the road and talk to you about it. And then I'd call your wife.
It feels so bold just to do that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the brazenness. It's wild. Anyway, wins. Paul, you've got something ready.
Yeah, well, in the nature of like getting off your phones and being with the community, I did something last night that you don't get to do that often. I lined up outside the Best Buy on Colorado Boulevard with a couple hundred other video game people, and we waited for several hours in the increasingly cold night to buy the brand new Nintendo Switch 2. These are people I don't know, but we all share this interest. And normally only interact, playing online games, which sometimes is great, sometimes it's a little harsh, but it was a pretty cool friggin' vibe last night in the line. We were talking about the games we like, talking about this new thing. It was people from all different walks of life all sharing this, and it was really exciting.
I love meeting in line stories, and it just doesn't happen that often anymore. I have friends that have met in line for concerts. I have friends that met in line waiting for, or it's knee a grab or something, or like waiting for you have a shared interest. You have a reason to cross paths with someone who's a stranger, and you have something to talk about. It's great. I love that. I love that still happens. I didn't even know it still happened.
It was really good.
That's
really
great.
good. There was someone who brought McDonald's for the person in front of me in line. They ate the entire thing, and then they threw it on the ground. Trash.
Good for them.
Yeah,
in a bin.
They put it in the bin.
Nice. It's good to hear that Best Buys are still around too.
Best Buy's crushing it right now. Customer service, so good.
Wow,
Oh,
really?
The teens running the line, actually not so good. They had some technical issues.
That's a hard thing.
They made me download the app and put a credit card in the app, and then they were like, you don't even need the app. Once I got up there, I was like, why did I download this app? Oh my God, the app. But
they want to track you.
Yeah.
I hate that every single thing needs an app now. And like, not to go back to this, but it's like when you're going to the Nuggets games or if you're going to an Avalanche game, why do I need 2 separate apps and a different Ball Arena app? Why do I have 3
There's
apps?
a Ball Arena app?
Yeah. Why do we have so many apps? It's frustrating.
Gotta get this app.
Sorry. Just
Was
Best Buy
there
makes you
anything
have
good
the
on this app?
Like, download this app for Best Buy to stand in line. It's rough out here.
Well, D, what's your...
My political win is, I actually made this joke earlier this year, but I think we're officially here, is we're 1 year out, 12 months away from the 2026 Democratic primaries in Colorado. And the field is heating up. We're going to have 5 candidates for Congressional District 8 that's up, challenging Gabe Evans, who just voted to cut Medicare. So we're going to have 5 people there. We're going to have 5 people run for Attorney General. Governor's race is not going to be that interesting. We're going to have a bunch of people for down the tickets. So we're 12 months away.
Finally.
Yeah, we're coming.
I love your love of politics.
I'm not sure if I love it or I just hate myself that much. That it seems like love.
I feel like that's most things we're super passionate about. Is the other side of it is like, is it just because I hate myself that much? But
it's a win for all political consultants out there. Get your
jobs.
Get your bag.
Is now the time to be getting the bag?
Some people are already been getting the bag.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But now people are going to be
who's the big scorer right now? Who's winning in the
If you look
world?
at the reports, you can see who the big winners
I'm
are.
asking
But the next
you right
report,
now.
Next report's coming out July 15th.
I don't want to look at the reports.
You're going to drop
Tell
that
me
on your
now.
Twitter feed?
I know consulting folks who are running a governor's race, an AG's race, a congressional race, some city council races, and there's only like a handful of them in this consulting firm.
Yeah, and what are their names?
Yep, I'm not going to give their names out. Look them up in the reports. I don't need these people chasing me.
This is baloney, Deep. Fine. Go ahead. What's next? He's not doing it.
No, he's not. He's not going to reveal his friends. Come on. We know this.
Friends, enemies, who knows?
We'll talk about it on the show next week. I'll look at the reports.
While I'm here in my own personal capacity. Just throwing that out there.
Good to know. Bree, what's your win?
I went to Barnum Park recently. I hadn't been, I realized, in probably over a year and a half. And they have a brand new skate park. And it's beautiful. They had added a dog run. There's a skate park. They re-landscaped part of it. They repaved and put in new basketball courts. If you haven't been to Barnum Park lately, it's the hidden gem. You can see the city. It's a beautiful spot. But this new skate park, I'm not going to use it. My husband and my son were so stoked on it, but it just looks great. And my husband was like, a lot of times they'll put in a skate park, but it's not substantial. Like it's like it's like for kids, or it's just not challenging. And this one looks really, really awesome. So if you haven't been over to Barnum Park lately, brand new skate park, beautiful, beautiful landscaping. Go hang out and check out the park. One of our beautiful parks in our lovely award-winning park system. So
does Greg still get on the board?
He does, but he has to be careful because, like, if you ever fall off a skate, you're an adult and you fall off a skateboard, like you're hurting for a while. But he totally does. He loves to skateboard. He has another our friend Eric that he goes with sometimes. But
is he teaching Montgomery?
Oh yeah.
How you feel about that?
I make him wear a helmet and then he's embarrassed, but I make my kid wear a helmet.
Yeah, you gotta wear a helmet.
Come on.
I used to longboard in college, and
of course you did.
I was longboarding in college for a good 2-3 months, and then I got
longboard's the wrong board.
Like I got hit by a biker and fell into this ditch. And I'm like, that's enough. I'm never again. CSU was dangerous in Fort Collins. Like you would be longboarding. There was no such thing as a bike lane back in the day. I don't think people know how spoiled you are to have a bike lane. But longboarders, walkers, bicyclists, some cars. Fort Collins was a crazy place. So I got hit that one time. I'm like, you know what? I'm lucky to be alive. Gave away that longboard.
We're lucky
You don't longboard anymore.
No, I haven't seen a longboard since college. I think it's an exclusive college thing.
Well, you're having a kid soon. These things might be reignited.
I do see hoverboards though.
Are those the ones with the wheel in the middle?
It's a longboard, but then you control it via remote. I've looked into those. They look cool. It looks like you're just like cruising.
Yeah, I've seen my husband's rode one of those. It looks really fun. It doesn't feel super safe to me, but
yeah,
I don't know.
The future.
Well, Paul, Deep, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Go Rockies. Keep losing.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Karolyi and Olivia Jewel Love. Adam Sage edits the video for YouTube. McKenna Harford writes our morning newsletter, Hey Denver. I'm Bree Davies, your host. Abby Madigan runs our social media. Nick Holmby and Jacob Rupp from Dude IDK Studios film our Friday show. Our music is by Los Mogochetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Instagram at CityCast Denver, and tell your friend who still has season tickets to the Rockies about us next time you see them. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week.